Welcome, everyone. I'm Amy Seeley, president of Seeley Test Pros and LEAP, helping students to succeed in all kinds of tests from 8th grade to grad school throughout Ohio.
And I'm Mike Bergen, president of Chariot Learning, helping students with the test School and Life based out of Rochester, New York.
Between the three of us today, we have over 70 years of experience at the highest levels of the test preparation and supplemental education industries.
We both love to talk and learn about the latest issues in education, testing, and admissions. So let's get down to tests and the rest. The fascinating test prep professional we want to profile today is Jonah Fishel. We are so happy to be speaking with you today, Jonah. How are you?
I'm great, Mike. Thanks for having me. It's funny that adding me to the mix only adds 10 years to the experience in the room. That's
Actually, Jonah, there's a
So
running
far.
right, but there's a running joke though when we do this that people are like, wait, all of a sudden these years are getting higher and higher. We're like, well, yeah, because every year we all do this, we're more and more, right?
Yeah, that's true. Funny how that works.
Yeah. So, Jonah, tell us a little bit about where you are and what you do.
I'm in Charlottesville, Virginia, but it doesn't really feel like it when I'm doing the test prep stuff. We're all virtual these days,
Yeah.
basically. We went virtual basically right during COVID, and I never looked back. You can fit in more meetings during the day. Yeah, so we do test prep for kids with learning differences. That's the main focus for us. About 80% of our clients have some kind of learning difference. Overwhelmingly, they have testing accommodations, they have an IEP or a 504 in school. And then that 20% neurotypical that we see is usually referrals, just people, younger siblings or happy customers or whatever.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
all SAT, ACT right now.
So how did you get, that's interesting that like your practice, you have a lot of that. How did you get your start in test prep and what did you do before you started doing test prep?
Almost nothing. Yeah. So I was going to go to school. Right? I was going to get a doctorate. My wife and I applied at the same time. We got married right out of college because we were dating all through college, and we both applied to doctorate programs. And she's kind of the brains of our operation. She got offered a lot of money in Philadelphia, so we went there. And I was like, oh, I'll just, I don't know anyone here.
Mhm.
The alumni network is non-functional here in Philly, so I'll just kind of do what I need to do. And I've been tutoring in college too, so I picked up some test prep hours, and hour for hour, I mean, wages, the best thing you could do, I think, as a young professional is tutoring. So I was just picking up as many as I could, and the person who trained me at the company I worked for in Philly was a learning specialist. That was their
Oh,
day job, and they did 20 hours or so of test prep a week with kids who needed whatever kind of accommodation or additional help in test prep. And so because she trained me, I picked up some tricks, and then she had to leave unexpectedly from the company, and I just inherited her caseload because I just happened to be new and kind of had the availability, and she trained me. And so I had trial by fire for about a year of just working with kids with additional needs or different needs. Then I got interested in it. And so when I eventually went to Villanova to get my master's in education, and they have a disability studies concentration, so I actually learned sort of what I was doing there and did some classroom teaching hours and stuff and worked with that population. And so, yeah, I sort of picked up the actual mechanics of how to do that kind of thing on the way. And then when I went off on my own after COVID 2021, after we moved away from Philly, I started Next Step Prep. That was our focus. And then the first couple of students we had were, you start by reaching out to friends and family, and we had some family friends who knew I had the specialty, and a lot of their kids were on the autism spectrum. I had 4 or 5 clients early on who had accommodations at school and a long history of family autism and siblings and that sort of thing. And so, like the first 10 clients we had maybe were autistic students, and moms talk basically. And so that kind of became the thing that we're
Hmm.
that we're known for. So about half of our clients are autistic now, and that continues to be a big part of what we do.
It's really impressive that you have done so much education in the specific area of, learning differences and educating students in that area. What about on the test prep side? What have you done
Yeah.
to supplement all of that knowledge to make sure that you are expert at the test prep piece?
Yeah, I mean, you'd think after doing it so many years, you just kind of get the hang of it. But those are some pretty serious continuing education that you got to do, especially right now where everything is
Right.
kind of in flux. I was sweating reading text messages from students about the new math topics that they claim around the enhanced ACT in September. And I was, oh, I gotta revisit,
Yeah,
I
it's
gotta
so
revisit our
funny,
curriculum.
right? Like it was never like this. You were joking at the
Yeah.
beginning, like the 10 years. You only added 10 years. You added the most dynamic 10
I was
years
going to
in the history
say,
of test prep.
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
and it's
Exactly.
really funny what you're learning, and obviously Mike and I've been around a little bit longer, but it is something that someone would take for granted that like being in this industry, oh, you do the SAT, you've always been able to do the SAT. Oh, no. I mean it, and like you're suggesting, even when the test transitions, we as test prep professionals, we still have to stay on top of the sort of, kind of listening to the floor, like what do we see happening or hearing? Because just because the test changed doesn't mean it stays that way for another 8 or 9 years. It's like there's evolutions that almost happen that we
Yeah.
have to stay in touch with.
You got to stay current. I mean, when I took the SAT, it was out of 2,400.
Okay.
And
Yes, that's what I was going to
when
guess. You were a
I
2400 kid.
yeah, I was a 2,400 kid. Yeah, the writing section killed me too, which is embarrassing.
Yeah, the three section model, which they
Yeah,
got rid of, right? Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Thank goodness. When people ask me what I got on the SAT, I always just I've removed the writing section, because then they're
That's a
like, oh,
smart
because
move.
then it makes sense anyway, right? And then it's out of 1,600 anyway, so it's more
They're like, wait,
relatable.
how did
Yeah,
you
and then
get
you're
that
gonna
many
have to
more
talk
points?
about the 2400 years, which are
It
kind of
was
an
a weird
Yeah,
aberration.
period of time.
we
Yeah,
can
it was a
forget that. My
weird.
essay too, the essay was the reality TV one. I just
Yeah,
happened to be in that cohort of people who were asked about something I had absolutely
yeah.
no idea about or background knowledge
Which I
on. Yeah,
think
it's a
was
mess.
that 2400, was that like between like 2005 and 20 like 15, I want to say, is it that 10-year period, I think is
2015,
when,
yeah.
yeah, that's the period, which is only
Well, they
funny.
changed it in
Yeah.
2016, right? So yeah,
So
somewhere in there.
exactly. Which is then you might have gotten started in test prep right before the prior change, right? So I
That's it.
guess
Well, that's right. Yeah. So I had a
right. So
year
you're now
of
on your
2,400.
second, you're on your second SAT. And we do say in the industry about every 8 to 10 years, you can probably reasonably expect the SAT to change. I think it's just
Yeah.
a fact of the
Sure.
industry. Um, well, tell us about how is your practice evolved from when you sort of launched your own, business?
Yeah, in big ways. And just to close the loop with Mike there, I mean, education as much as I take as many tests as I can is the main thing. And the same way I have my students study. If I miss a question, which happens from time to time, especially on the news stuff, then you go back, you figure out why did I choose the wrong answer instead of the right answer, and then look for patterns and teach it to the other tutors. That's the big thing for me that's been changing the past couple of years. Because when I went out on my own, it was like my wife keeps kind of pump faking me on graduation. So, she's in her third year of postdoc
Okay.
now. So it's been like 9 years, of post-college education. And so at some point I was just like, all right, this is going to be my main thing. I'm going to do this now and I'll get the doctorate later if I feel like getting a doctorate. I'm really enjoying what I'm doing now. So now I'm kind of feeling like, forget it. Who cares?
Yeah, I wonder if you'd agree. I kind of find falling into this career path is sort of was very serendipitous. Do you feel like sort of
Yeah.
now like you're in that like, hey, I like this. This feels good.
Yeah.
And
And the
once you're
business
established, I
development
don't think that a
stuff.
doctorate, yeah, I mean, the doctorate might be for learning purposes and because you enjoy that, but I don't think once you're an expert in this field, doctorate adds that much to your
It's a
prestige.
tricky
Oh, no,
thing,
not at
right?
all. No, my doctor is totally unrelated. I'm a doctorate. I was going to school for religious studies, like
Oh,
comparative
Oh,
okay.
there
So
you
I
religion.
go.
was I was going to ask you where
Totally
what
unrelated.
yeah,
Yeah.
no. Mm-mm. Yeah, there is
No.
no God in test prep.
I'm a humanities kid. No, no, if only. Man, if you could pray for immeasurable score return,
Yeah, right.
you
Exactly.
could just make it
Wait,
part of the
what about
program.
Now,
like
if you
what
could, if you could figure that out, right?
Yeah, that's how
Thoughts
you
and
get the big
prayers for
bucks.
a strong
Hmm.
performance on Saturday.
uh
That's an avenue.
dispensations, for accommodation, you know.
Right. Indulgences. That's
Indulgences, let's
where
say.
money is.
I want a test prep
Indulgences.
indulgence.
Yeah.
Send
It's
your
real.
envelope to College Board.
Okay, so the past couple of years has been strange because about 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, I started Next Step Prep, just me. And it was just me doing one-on-one test prep, just clawing my way towards a full caseload. And it's tough, you know, you figure like, okay, well, I'm pretty good at this tutoring thing. And I think I was talking to Mike McGibbon about this. Everybody thinks that that they're hot. They're like, I don't know anyone who gets results like me. And then they go off and they start their own shop. I was like, I'm good at this tutoring thing. So this is going to work out for me. And I continue to be, you know, I think patting myself on the back, pretty good at the tutoring thing, but not at the business thing. Not at the marketing or advertising thing, especially because we moved about every 6 months. I've
Yeah.
only been in Charlottesville for 2 years, but we left
Okay.
Philly
Oh,
5 years
okay.
ago. You know, we've been
Gotcha.
moving like crazy. So I went fully virtual. Competing online for views and clicks is tough. So I only figured that out in the past 2.5 years or so. I mean,
Hmm.
I was only maybe 10 students concurrently for the first 2 years. And then I stumbled upon this. I made a different offer. I basically said, we're going to choose a goal score that I feel like is reasonable. You're going to pay one time, and we're going to work until we hit that goal score.
Ah, that's an
Which
interesting
is,
model.
yeah. And for the kids with learning differences, that is huge because I don't have, like, there's a lot of other stuff that's going on there. Like, most of the time, they're behind in content. Overwhelmingly, that's the main focus. Like, they just need to learn math. They need to learn vocab. They just need to learn stuff. It's not so much about strategy and timing a lot of the time for the big score increases. And it's hard to tell parents, like, yeah, we're going to go back and do seventh grade algebra for like a month. Or I just want them to read books. We're going to read books together. We're going to talk about them. We're going to work on those critical reading skills. And yeah, that is billed at the normal hourly tutoring rate for test prep, you know? So if you say up front, and I do not recommend necessarily that people do this, I think it was risky for me to do and it worked out okay for me, but just say, yeah, you're going to pay me once and we're just going to work until you get that score. And I was able to deliver on that for 2.5 years, and that's really what made the business take off. Every once in a while, you get a student who takes way longer than you expected. But if you kind of keep in mind a reasonable score increase, you know, 200, 300, 350 points, you can knock it out in a couple months and then you get a new student in. And so it kind of aligned our incentives in an interesting way because I got to get a new student in. So I want to get them to their goal score as quickly
Sure.
as possible rather
Efficiency.
than keep them
Mhm.
around tutoring as long as possible.
Sure.
And the faster I get them to the score, the better the hourly return is for me. The kid just wants their score and to get out, you know? And so you have to tie certain incentives essentially to the work that they do. You could say something like, you know, and this is what we do now. You have to do your homework. You can't no show on me for sessions. If you do so a certain number of times, then we won't keep going for free, right? You're capped at a certain number of hours. So you have to tie the student, you know, the work that they do to getting the result. Well, then the parent is just happy to just know it's going to be done and have it taken off their plate. So it was super high touch, you know, very involved, very personal. Everything was custom. And it took off enough. I started having to bring on new tutors. So that's what the model has been for the past year and a half or
And all your
so is,
tutors follow the same model, like everyone in
well,
that
not so much
prep.
anymore.
Okay, right.
Yeah, because that's the tough thing, you know, is my average score increase for the past couple of years has been like 270 points on the SAT.
Wow.
And when you start bringing new people in and you got to teach them the way, like everyone who is doing that consistently with their students has their own shop. You know, and so no, I love the tutors that are at Next Step Prep. They're fantastic at what they do. I can't reasonably expect them to do that every time.
They don't
And
have
I
your
think,
10 years of experience
you know,
necessarily. They don't have
exactly.
your insight. Okay.
Right.
Now, we're going to have another conversation and extend this conversation about your model. But we want to move to what we really scheduled this conversation for,
Sure, sure.
which is one thing that your colleagues might find surprising about you.
Yeah, it's got to be. I moonlight as a professional dungeon master for Dungeons and
Hey
Dragons.
Oh,
now,
wow.
Mark,
Yeah. I
love
think he
that.
might be the first person that's talked about D&D. I don't know, but I want to say this is the first reveal of a D&D guy in
Is
test
that
prep.
true? I
Well,
feel like the
Well, only
overlap is
because it's the first
huge.
time we've spoken about
right.
it.
Correct.
I'm sure there's a lot of people with role-playing experience
Well, you
because
know
that
why,
builds your
Mike?
SAT vocabulary.
Right. Yeah. No,
That
it probably does.
satisfies your itch for math.
Sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
rolling the probabilities is helpful.
So
So
how
the
long have you
the
been doing
I talk about it.
your dungeon master duties?
I mean, forever. I mean, I started
Oh,
when I was 11 or 12. I got really
okay.
serious about it. I don't really run paid games very often right now
Mhm.
because between the kids and the business, my time is
Yeah.
full. But I wrote a couple books about it that have been selling strangely well. And
Oh,
so,
cool.
along with my brother, who does sort of the hard work of running that side of things. So
Awesome.
that, I mean, I post about D&D from time to time on social media, but I'm not sure that people know the extent of my depravity, maybe. I don't know. Role-playing games are fine these days. We're in a different cultural moment than we were when I started, I think.
Well,
Yeah,
I
for
do
sure.
think that of your, I don't know your age, but of your generation, I'm finding that more, right? More the adults who are participate and
Yeah.
do the games and do D&D. So it's funny, like to me, while that is not me and my generation, I am seeing that so much more in your little generation.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you might be surprised, Amy. There may be some role-playing enthusiasts among us.
Maybe even in this call. You
Maybe
don't
Oh,
even
Mike,
know.
you're a D&D
majority of
guy?
this call. Oh,
Yes,
I could
absolutely.
Oh, I didn't
spot
know
it
Mike
from
was
a
D&D.
mile away, Mike.
Mike's
Yeah.
never
Yeah.
shown that card to me.
I keep unveiling them one at a time. All right. Listen, Jonah, we could definitely talk about you all day. Unfortunately, we are out of time. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thanks so much for having me. This is fun. It's like meeting, celebrity idols. I've been listening to the pod for, maybe 2 years at this point, so it's very cool
Oh,
to
thank
to
you.
talk to you like this. Thanks for having me.
If listeners would like to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
We have nextstepprep.net. Got a little contact form on there. And if you just want to talk about the model and the pros and cons, I have a lot of thoughts. We're in the middle of changing it. Happy
Good.
to chat about that.
Awesome. We hope you enjoyed this discussion as much as we did. Be sure to join us for another fascinating topic and guest on the next Tests and the Rest.
Did you enjoy this episode as much as we did? Find expanded links and more for this and all of our episodes at our show page at testsandtherest.com. While you're there, be sure to explore everything the larger TestBright site has to offer, including real, expert, unbiased answers to the toughest admissions testing questions. Of course, we'd love for you to rate, review, and subscribe to Test and the Rest on your favorite podcast platform. If there's a topic or guest you'd like us to feature, just let us know and spread the word.